Goodbye 2016, hello 2017. Let's talk about games from 1996. So a few years ago, I did a video as we rolled through a new year about, here's the thing. It's commonplace now, right? At the end of every year for YouTubers to do videos of their favorite games from the year prior to that. But my thing is, I'm usually way behind on the times. I don't buy any of the AAA titles the year they're released, and it's honestly a waste of my money to do that because usually, one, they're buggy as all get out, or they may just be crap. So, you know what? Let's do this. I prefer to talk about games that I actually like. So let's look at games from 1996 as opposed to 2016. And let's talk about 5 of my favorite games from 1996. Before I get too deep into this, I want to make sure that you understand. Put it this way. Here's a disclaimer. You might not like some of these games. There might be other games on here that you felt like belong on this list, but it's my list, so stick it. So why don't we begin with the beginning of the year? In January of 1996, what I would consider a fantastic entry into, at that time, people were referring to them as like Doom clones, but the first person shooter genre, Duke Nukem. Okay, so Duke Nukem 3D is released in January of 1996. Unfortunately, its later iterations, Duke Nukem Forever, were not as good. We're not as up to snuff. We're not as up to the standard that was set by the original. But, I still love the game. And I don't hate Duke Nukem Forever by any stretch of the imagination. I actually had the honor of meeting the voice of Duke a few years ago. Not only an honor, I actually took some shots of Jack Daniels with the man himself. But John St. John, I've actually got right here a hat he signed. I've got figurines he signed. I've got games he signed. Basically anything that had anything to do with Duke Nukem, I got him to sign. But the game itself is a caricature of what it is to be a chauvinistic hero. And I love it. I mean, it's absurd. It's ridiculous. It's cartoonish in a way. It's over the top chauvinist. It's funny. And it's fun. The game itself is fantastic. And if you have the means to do it, you should play it. Just go check it out. And I don't think you'll be disappointed. The next game I wanted to mention is one that was released on Halloween of 1996. And this game is beyond unique. It's a point and click adventure game in the vein of, some of the LucasArts games. And it's good. It is really good. But the thing that sets it apart isn't necessarily the game itself. I mean, it's pretty standard gameplay. You point at this and you click on this and it does this. He moves here. The character moves there. It's all standard fare. But the thing is, the entire game was constructed. It's all claymation. Everything is claymation. Everything was constructed out of clay. I mean, even the sets, the town, the scenery, everything's made of clay, painstakingly handcrafted, and it's awesome. The game is a lot of fun, but besides that, I mean, just the art alone, like your mind kind of just like, it's amazing. I've always been fascinated with claymation. I think there's obviously a huge amount of dedication that goes into that style of animation. And so for me to see a game that was entirely created that way, it was really cool. And it was a really good game to play besides. So I had to mention it. Some people don't even know this game exists, but they should. It is very tricky to get working on a modern computer system. It is also really expensive to buy a copy of it. So just be warned that that is an obstacle you'd have to overcome, but an obstacle well worth overcoming. Everybody has that game that defines the Neo Geo for them. For some, it may be Art of Fighting. For some, it might be Puzzle de Pon or Bust a Move. For others, it might be, I don't know. I don't know. It could be anything. But for me, my friend, and for probably many of you, it's going to be Metal Slug. This is a game that was released in April, I believe, of 1996. And for me, it defined the Neo Geo. I would go to a local pizzeria here called Pizza Village. By far, one of the greatest pizza restaurants in existence. So, anyway, but they had in the back corner, in their arcade section, among some other arcade machines, a few other arcade machines, they had a Neo Geo cabinet, and on that cabinet was a copy of Metal Slug. And I mean, I have wasted money on that machine. Oh my gosh. You know, it's your run and gun, shoot 'em up type of game. It is so good. There is a reason. I mean, it commands a huge price, particularly for the home release, the AES release. It's insanely expensive. And if you own that, you are, my friend, sitting on gold, honestly. If you can find somebody that's willing to pay for it. But, yeah, but even the arcade, the MVS carts, if they're legitimate, command a decent price tag. Most Neo Geo games do anyway, but Metal Slug in particular, and I think it's partially because of how great it is. Honestly, it's not just, I don't know. There's a sense of nostalgia that comes with a lot of these older games, you know, and they've shot up in price insanely, and part of that is because our generation, my generation, is you know, kind of obsessed with our past. Not to nitpick and point fingers and poke fun or anything, but we are kind of obsessed with our past. And from that standpoint, we're all chasing that nostalgia. But anyway, Metal Slug's phenomenal. Metal Slug is great. And I could not talk about the year 1996 without mentioning this game. There's absolutely no way. I could ignore many others, but not this one. So Metal Slug, for sure, one of my favorite games from 1996, for sure. This is another computer game that was released in 1996 that it was unlike any other game I'd really ever played. Prior to this, you know, the computer games I'd played were limited to, you know, I'd played, you know, the Doom and Wolfenstein and Minesweeper, but Diablo was something completely different. Diablo, it's kind of a dungeon crawler type game, and it's dark, it's evil, it's brooding, it's fantastic, and it's hard. It is hard. I recently got a hold of there is an HD mod that exists, and if you have the actual game, you can run the HD mod, and it's been a lot of fun. I've been playing through with the expansion pack with a necromancer character, and I'm getting my hiney handed to me. I can't even get past the second level of the church, so it's a nightmare. But Diablo in and of itself, fantastic game. The art, the play style is a lot of fun to me. I love the click, just the kind of the point and click type adventure thing going on there. You know, you click, you move, you fight. I like that. It's a relatively easy game to jump in and just kind of goof around at, to kind of test the waters, So Diablo is definitely well worth playing, and with a lot of help from the modern modding community and things of that nature, that they've breathed new life into it, I think. And I think it's definitely well worth checking out. I think it's well worth owning. It'd be worth buying, honestly. All right, so the last one to mention is Resident Evil. I don't think there's ever been a game, for me personally, that has ever had a more iconic reveal of your enemy than Resident Evil. There's this moment. I always played through Chris's mission first, but there's this moment where Chris, walks down that hall, comes around the corner, and finds, the zombie is hunched over the dead body and eating. And that turn, that just kind of became, if I'm not mistaken, it became the cover of the game, But that is burned into your mind, right? Like anybody that played that game, that scene all too well. And, there's, man, that was awesome. And it kind of, it sparked an obsession for me with an idea of a zombie apocalypse, which is funny because at this time, that wasn't really a thing. It was kind of, that was new-ish, It's only been in recent years that the zombie apocalypse thing has been something that completely has consumed society. It's completely become laden in the pop culture. I mean, right here in front of me, I've got the zombie combat manual, a survival guide to zombie apocalypse, I've got books over there, The Reapers are the Angels, Monster Island, things like that are all about zombie apocalypses happening. It has become part of our culture now. And it's interesting to look back and think that game certainly had something to do with where we are now, with things like The Walking Dead, with things like, World War Z, and you go on any, the list of zombie-related video games is long and ridiculous and nearly impossible to siphon through the crap now. And heck, even the Resident Evil series took a downward dip, but the beginnings, the Resident Evil, the original Resident Evil, I don't know. There was something very special about it. I mean, you think about the sense of uncomfortableness you had because of the way the game itself used, crazy camera angles, and you felt like, all right, well, what am I, anything could be around that corner, and you could be standing right there, right next to your death, and wouldn't know it until you walked into the new camera angle or whatever. And I don't know. It was kind of, it was fun. I had a lot of fun playing through the original and several several of the sequels. But anyway, yeah, that was a great game and a fantastic one from 1996. All right, guys, so that's it for this time. I hope you found this video reasonably enjoyable. If you get a chance, leave me a comment. Let me know if there's any games you would have mentioned. And please make sure you check out the Redbubble page I have for some merchandise. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.